Hello guys, welcome back again to the Donghuastoryline channel. Sorry if it's been a long time since I uploaded because this month I have the arrival of a new family member who has been born. And for the SwallowedStar Season 3 storyline, please wait because it hasn't been released yet on the official website. Okay, let's move on to the main discussion. Here I will discuss the storyline of SoulLand 2. Maybe those who watched this video have watched SoulLand 1, which has ended on the official website. And SoulLand 2 take place 10,000 years after Tang San and the 7 Shrek monsters went to the God Realm. And surely, our main character has now been replaced by a young man in the new generation named Huo Yuhao, who still has the bloodline of Dai Mubai, which the main character has a bad cultivation level. Because even though he was already 11 years old, his spirit power had only reached level 10. And that was all due to Huo Yuhao's spirit eye, which made his cultivation extremely slow. Because Yuhao's guardian spirit mutated into spirit eyes, making him a spiritual type Yuhao master at the same time. And okay guys, what is the full storyline like? Let's just get straight into the storyline. At the beginning of the movie, we will see that while Tang San was flying, he saw that a new star on the Donghuastoryline continent had already been born. Then, when Tang San returned to the God Realm, he was immediately greeted by his wife. Here, Xiao Wu also asked why Tang San looked agitated. Tang San also said that after the fight between the gods, he actually wanted to stay longer on the Donghuastoryline continent. But Tang San was forced to return to the Divine Realm to preside over the situation. Because there is a bet between the God of Good and the God of Evil, in which the God of Good and Evil is very cunning, because they descended to the mortal world to play game with the reason for the bet. And one day in this God realm equals 1 year in the mortal world. But Tang San didn't expect that after 20 years in the God realm, it would also have passed tens of thousands of years in the spirit world. Even the Tang Sect had already perished. But after returning to the God realm, Tang San couldn't even participate in governing the mortal world, and could only be a bystander and witness the changes of the Donghuastoryline continent over tens of thousands of years. The changes in the crust 4,000 years ago caused a clash of worlds and enlarged the spirit world, even bringing about many changes. 4,000 years ago, the world of Ryu from the west crashed into the spirit world and merged, and there was a war between the World Empire and Ryu against the early countries of the spirit world. But it was the Spirit World Alliance equipped with the hidden weapons of the Tang Sect that this empire in Ryu could defeat. And 10,000 years ago, there were only 2 empires on the Spirit Continent, namely the Tiandu Empire and the Xingluo Empire. But this time, the Spirit World has already been divided into 4 empires, namely Tianhun, Duling, Ryu, and Xingluo. And from then on, the Tang Sect was in deterioration. And after 4,000 years of various situations, the Tang Sect was completely wiped out. And even though Tang San was a god king, here he could only helplessly watch the decline of the Tang Sect. But here, Xiao Wu reassured Tang San that this setback was due to the progress of the times and the destiny of the Donghuastoryline continent. But since Tang San was the founder of the Tang Sect, he wouldn't let the Tang Sect just disappear. And Tang San sensed that recently a new star had been born, and it was closely related to the destiny of the Tang Sect. Meanwhile, there was a girl who was always eavesdropping on Tang San and Xiao Wu's conversations about this Donghuastoryline continent, and she was a girl called Tang Wutong, the daughter of Tang San and Xiao Wu. Here is the scene of the transfer of the Duke's mansion in Xingluo country, which looks so luxurious and dashing. When the 2 soldiers were on patrol, they saw a child watching the Duke's residence, and he was the main character named Huo Yuhao. Seeing this dagger on Yuhao's waist, these soldiers knew that he was the youngest young master of the Dai surname. However, Yuhao rejected the surname and decided to use his mother's surname, Huo. And here, Yuhao intends to leave the residence, which is called the cruelest residence, because he is always tormented. Hearing that naturally angered the soldiers, for Yuhao dared to insult a duke's residence. But here, with his spiritual eyes, Yuhao was able to escape from the ambush of the 2 warriors. Here they lost the Yuhao. But the white tiger dagger that Yuhao brought with him, it was an identification of the Dai noble family. Meanwhile, in the middle of the road, a group of horsemen was seen carrying a royal carriage behind them. Seen in a dignified person with a stern face, and he was the duke in question, which was Daihao. On his way back to the palace, this Daihao saw a figure on Yuhao next to the road. But Yuhao quickly hid from Daihao's sight. Here, Yuhao has a great hatred for Daihao, even though he is Yuhao's biological father. But his dark past made Yuhao really hate him. Yuhao's mother, Huo Yuhao, was actually a maid at the Duke of Daihao's residence. But Daihao fell in love with Yuhao, and there was a love affair between the two of them, and then this Yuhao was born. But this Daihao obviously already had a legal wife of high status, to the point where this Yuhao was exiled from the residence and had to live in the woodshed in the backyard of the Duke's residence. Yuhao was always called an illegitimate child by the guardians of the Duke's residence because of Yuhao and Daihao's illicit relationship. This Yuhao lived in the back woodshed while still caring for Yuhao alone, until she fell ill in the end. And before he died, Yuhao left behind the white tiger dagger, which actually belonged to Daihao, and he gave it to Yuhao for survival. Because Yuhao was still the son of the Duke of Daihao, even though his mother was of low status. Because Yuhao's current strength had already reached level 10. Even here, he was intending to find a spirit ring for himself and become a spirit master while taking an oath in front of his mother's tomb. And here, Yuhao went to the Exingduo forest looking for spirit beasts in order to be stronger to seek justice for his late mother. Yuhao continued walking alone towards the Exingduo forest, relying solely on the map he had. Day and night he went through, and it didn't feel like it had been 6 days since he had made this long journey. Even Yuhao could only rely on his bit of knowledge. That is, only when a spirit beast died would he be able to retrieve its spirit ring. And once the spirit ring is absorbed by the spirit master who killed it, the spirit master can break through the training barrier. Even Yuhao could only rely on his bit of knowledge. That is, only when a spirit beast died would he be able to retrieve its spirit ring. And once the spirit ring is absorbed by the spirit master who killed it, the spirit master can break through the training barrier. Seeing fish in the river, Yuhao immediately took a tree branch and tried to sharpen it with his dagger, then caught the fish to be grilled. Long story short, after grilling the fish, suddenly a girl's voice was heard who was interested in the grilled fish and intended to buy it. But Yuhao, who has a kind heart, just gave the grilled fish to the girl. And that girl is Tangya, the current leader of the Tang Sect and the only member of the Tang Sect. Not long after, followed by a young man named Bei Bi, descended from Master Xiao Gang. Here, the three of them were getting to know each other, but Tangya looks like she really enjoys this grilled fish made by Yuhao. After the fish was finished, Yuhao said goodbye and left. Bei immediately asked where Yuhao was going because the forest was very dangerous, especially close to the Xingduo forest, where there were obviously many dangerous spirit beasts. But without answering, Yuhao just walked away. Tangya also felt that Yuhao was planning to go to the Xingduo forest. And Bei wondered if this Yuhao was really on the hunt for spirit rings, because he saw that Yuhao had spirit power. But in Tangya's opinion, Yuhao's life would be in danger if he dashed off alone because this spirit power in Yuhao's body was very weak. Long story short, Yuhao arrived at the forest gate and was very excited because he really wanted to have a spirit ring. And he could only rely on his martial abilities, which were still in the beginner stage. Upon entering the forest area, Yuhao was deeply enthralled by the beauty of this Xingduo forest because for many years, he had only lived in the Duke's residence. Not long after, here is something that looks like it is targeting him. Yuhao was actually very alert, but suddenly a baboon monkey appeared and attacked Yuhao quickly. At a time of urgency, Yuhao could only try to avoid attack after attack from the baboon ape. Just as the baboon was about to spit out its attacks, Yuhao quickly took out his dagger and blocked the attack. After that tense battle, Yuhao let out his final attack and swung his trainer while accidentally using his Spirit Eye ability. Even though the baboon's attack was actually very fast, thanks to the Spirit Eye's skill, it seemed as if the attack was slowed down. And finally, Yuhao managed to kill the baboon monkey. But unfortunately, here Yuhao also fell as a result of the baboon's attack earlier. He could only lean against a tree while watching the spirit ring of the baboon come out of his body. But unfortunately, Yuhao no longer had the strength to absorb the spirit rings. Suddenly, Yuhao felt a chill and saw ice instantly enveloping the place. Something appeared from the ground, and another spirit beast appeared. Even Yuhao could only dimly watch the beast with a chill shrouding him. And when Yuhao could see it clearly, it was a white caterpillar with a cute face. But unfortunately, Yuhao's body was already frozen due to the effect of this caterpillar's arrival. Here, the ice silkworm is very happy because it can finally find a human with spiritual attributes. But the caterpillar saw that Yuhao's strength was very weak. Suddenly, the caterpillar saw something in Yuhao's spiritual realm that seemed to also want to dominate the realm of consciousness in Yuhao's body, and something in the shape of a black ball. Here, this ice silkworm named Tianmeng immediately prepared to attack the black ball with all the golden patterns on its body. But here, Tianmeng feels that the power of the ball does not conflict with its strength. He didn't care about that either, and intended to fuse his body directly into Yuhao's. Here too, something suddenly appeared in the shape of an eye from below, which made Yuhao immediately wake up. But here, Yuhao didn't know where he was, because the last time he was in the Xing Duo forest, and this Tianmeng said that this was Yuhao's Sea of Consciousness, also called the Sea of Spirits, which in the future would also become the home of this Tianmen. Here, Yuhao was also wondering if he was dreaming and who was talking to him in that place. Here, Tianmeng said that it was not a dream, and he was in his spirit sea. Yuhao was still confused as to what this spirit sea meant, which made Tianmeng think that Yuhao was really stupid. And here, Tianmeng confessed that he had just printed Yuhao's memory. Tianmeng had told him from the start that the eyes on Yuhao were his martial souls called spiritual eyes. And Yuhao needs to convert soul power into spiritual power if he wants to expend his power, and then Yuhao can expel the energy through his spiritual eye. Whereas Yuhao's spiritual power repository was in the spirit sea, its specific location was behind Yuhao's spirit eye. Here, Tianmeng introduced herself and said, if he is the only 1,000,000-year-old beast in this Dolo continent, even so, he was also the first wisdom spirit ring in history. Even here, Tianmeng told Yuhao to call him Brother Tianmeng. Yuhao, who was still a novice, complied with Tianmeng's wishes and asked why he had chosen Yuhao to be his spirit master, because what Yuhao knew was that his first spirit ring couldn't exceed 400 years. Even here, Tianmeng admitted that he was forced to choose Yuhao because otherwise his life would be threatened because he would be made a fugitive in the spirit beast realm. Because the story was so long, Tianmeng also intended to tell Yuhao some other time. Here too, Tianmeng asked Yuhao to look at the 10 orbs of light in front of him, which were the 10 seals that Tianmeng had installed, as well as the first spirit ring he gave to Yuhao. And sure enough, Yuhao said just now that if Yuhao's first soul ring could bear the spirit rings of a 400-year-old spirit beast, and the power of the first spirit ring bestowed by Tianmeng was purely 400 years old. Once Yuhao breaks through, as well as with increasing Yuhao's physical capacity, Yuhao's ring's lifespan will increase because this Tianmeng is already 1,000,000 years old. Here, Yuhao was also surprised because it turned out that the power of spirit rings could change. And Tianmeng again explained that if he is the only spirit beast that is 1,000,000 years old, then his first spirit ring not only evolved according to Yuhao's physical strength, but it even instantly imparted 4 soul techniques at once. And Tianmeng could cultivate 1 martial soul for Yuhao, even though this Tianmeng didn't have spirit bones. Here, Yuhao is very enthusiastic to hear all these words from Tianmeng. Here, Tianmeng said that he gave Yuhao martial soul, which has an ice attribute, but does not have a form yet. And later, after Yuhao absorbs the ring, this martial soul can change shape. Thus, in the future, Yuhao should be careful when choosing spirit rings and listen more to Tianmeng's suggestions. Here, Yuhao also asked what 4 spirit techniques he has now, but Tianmeng asked Yuhao to find out for himself. But what is clear is that the 4 techniques that the Taimen provide do not have the power of an attack type. Because, basically, it was a support type technique, so as not to be targeted by others. Here, Tianmeng asked Yuhao to admit to having only one technique among others. And it still had a long way to go for Yuhao to become strong, as he was now extremely weak. Hearing all that, Yuhao also intends to be serious and work hard in order to achieve full success and fulfill the promise to his late mother. And finally, Tianmeng instantly sent Yuhao out of that sea of consciousness. Outside, it turned out that Tang Ye and Bei were already anxiously waiting for the unconscious Yuhao. Bei immediately checked Yuhao's body, and he realized that this Yuhao actually had very strong spirit power. And he also knew that this Yuhao should have just broken through and entered the Spirit Master level. He also knew that Yuhao needed some time to adjust between his body and his current spirit power. But Bei thought that this Yuhao had just absorbed a 10-year-old wind baboon spirit ring. Suddenly, Yuhao woke up and thought it was just a dream. He also saw Tanya and Baby, who were already in front of him to protect him, and they looked worried. When danger came, Yuhao was shocked because this Tang Ya had 2 100-year-old spirit rings, and this Bei had 2 100-year-old rings and 1,000-year-old spirit ring. Yuhao didn't even expect that this Bei was already a level 30 Great Spirit Master, even though he was only 4 or 5 years older than Yuhao. Suddenly, Tang Ya saw a 1,000-year-old datura snake, and Tang Ya really wanted the snake spirit ring. Here too, Bei will face the snake and ask Tang Ya to take shelter and look after Yuhao, because maybe there are still other spirit beasts in that place. And finally, this Tang Ye took out her martial soul in the form of a blue silver grass to protect Yuhao. Even here, Yuhao could only remain silent while watching the fight between Bei and the snake. And here, Bei released his lightning power because he was a descendant of the Blue Lightning Tyrant Dragon clan. But the snake was suddenly behind Yuhao and Tang Ya. Here, Tang Ya and Yuhao worked together while avoiding the datura snake. After Bei came, Tang Ya also told him that Bei's martial soul was the Blue Lightning Tyrant Dragon, and that he was the front attack type. But it's not easy for Bei to lock the snake because the snake's movement is so fast. Here, Yuhao was a little flattered, because during his new life this time, there was someone who protected him wholeheartedly apart from his mother. From within the spiritual realm, Tianmeng suggested that using spirit detection and deployment techniques could help Bei. Because Yuhao didn't want to be seen as a useless person, he was also trying to support Bei. It was also here that Yuhao brought out his first newly acquired spirit technique, spirit detection and dispersion. Then Yuhao buffed his technique on Tang Ye and Bei, which made Bei able to predict the movement of this snake, which has high speed. Bei immediately issued his second spirit technique called Strongest Lightning. After the snake was hit by Bei's lightning strike, he immediately asked Tang Ye to execute the snake. Even here with her sword, Tang Ya directly stabbed right under the snake's head. After the snake dies and takes out its spirit ring, Tang Ye asks Bei to protect it while she absorbs the beast's spirit ring. Bei also thanked Yuhao because all of that could run smoothly thanks to Yuhao's technique. Because if not, Bei is not sure he can fight the 1,000-year-old beast. And apparently, the purpose of Bei and Tang Ye going to Xingduo Forest was because Tang Ya had already broken through level 30 and intended to find a suitable third spirit ring for him. But Yuhao felt that if the two of them had helped Yuhao in the first place, then it was only natural for Yuhao to return the favor to them. Yuhu asked, "Was this Tang Ya's martial soul?" And Bei said, "If Tang Ya's martial soul is a blue-silver grass," here, Yuhao knew that the sea god Tang San, who founded the Tang Sect, also had a blue-silver martial soul. Bei didn't even expect that this Yuhao knew about the sea god Tang San. Yuhao again said that on the entire Dolu continent, everyone should know the story. Even when Yuhao was young, his mother would often tell him about Tang San. 10,000 years ago, the first Tang sect master, Tang San, led the Shrek monsters to fight against the Wuhan Empire, and he also stabilized spirit power. He was even able to break through the restriction of the level 99 title Dulo, and then became a god. Bei also confirmed Yuhao's story and said that Tang Ya's blue-silver grass has good talent. But when compared to his ancestor, Tang San, Tang Ya's blue-silver grass still lacked a lot. And Bei Bei tells Yuhao that this Tang Ya is the current head of the Tang Sect. Short story after Tang Ya managed to absorb the ring. Here, Tang Ya directly asked Yuhao whether he would like to join the Tang Sect. After all, the Tang Sect was once the #1 strongest sect on the Dalu continent. Moreover, the Tang Sect's secret techniques were extremely suitable for Yuhao's training. Here too, Tang Ye showed a scroll containing the secret technique that Tang San had left for the Tang Sect, which included the Ghost Shadow Step, Purple Demon Eye, Mysterious Jade Hand, and so on. Even though the Tang Sect looks weak right now, Tang Sect still believes that the future will be bright, because Tang Ya was the sect master and Bei Bei was the first disciple. Without thinking, Yuhao immediately agreed to join the Tang Sect, especially now that he had no family and even had bad talent and a mutated martial soul. And Yuhao felt that he was lucky to meet the two of them, who had always saved him from the start. Even Yuhao was willing to revive the glory of the Tang Sect. Here, Tang Ya also promised to give Yuhao a surprise after coming out of the Xingduo forest. Long story short, here Bei Bei was showing all the techniques he had mastered, which Yuhao here really admired. It didn't even end there. Here Bei Bei chased after Yuhao to learn the basic technique of this Tang Sect's secret technique. And here Bei Bei also realized that Yuhao's meridians were very narrow and thin, which made Yuhao's talent very poor, and Yuhao had to train harder than anyone else. And then they continued to walk out of the Xingduo forest, and even had to get on a passing horse-drawn carriage. And finally, they reached the city of Shrek, where there is the #1 academy in the world, namely Shrek Academic, which now looks very luxurious. And all the people who were accepted into the Shrek Academy were the elites among the elites, because that place was the birthplace of the true Spirit Master.